Change is a constant in our world, at home and in our modern workplace. And being able to understand and accept that change is so necessary, especially right now. In this series, we will explore change agility in the workplace. The objectives are to define change agility and what that looks like in the workplace, explain the two types of change we may experience, identify how change affects our life today, understand the four phases of change, and recognize the current phase of change that we may be experiencing right now. So, what is change agility? It is defined as the ability to effectively address new challenges as they present themselves, rapidly implement and integrate new learning or practices, and even to change an entire direction resourcefully within a short space of time. Simply put, it is about having the ability to anticipate and adapt to change. We live in a world of constant uncertainty and change that we are presented with every day. There are two types of change: planned and unplanned. A planned change is one we know about ahead of time. Perhaps we are the ones making the change ourselves, whether that is making the decision to accept a new position, launch a new initiative, deploy a new policy, market a new product, or adopt a new technology, platform, or process. Maybe you're not the one making the decision, but you are the one receiving that change made by someone else. Planned change affects all of us, and we can plan for the change accordingly. Other times, change seems to be sprung upon us as unplanned. We, in turn, are then reacting to the unplanned change that we don't see coming. Most of us experienced this in March of 2020, when we had to unexpectedly adapt to working from home during the onset of the pandemic. As workers in non-management roles, the changes we experience at work are often not in our control, and we also don't always see them coming. While it is easy to view change warily, the best way to handle change is by building a positive mindset that lets us embrace the inevitable. By becoming agile, we will be better able to anticipate change and adapt to it when it comes. Dr. Carol Dweck, in her book Mindset, The New Psychology of Success, How We Can Learn to Fulfill Our Potential, explains that change can be tough, but she has never heard anybody say it wasn't worth it. When we first encounter a change, we are afraid of the unknown. Our first reaction to it can often be denial. We resist the change with our often defaulted mental blocks, and fear and resistance actually make our experience with the change even worse until we are able to release that resistance and come to the second phase of change, which is acceptance. Whether we decide to jump on board right from the get-go or have to go through the agony of pushing back over a period of time only to succumb to the inevitable, we get to the place of accepting it. Then there's the maintenance phase, and this is where we are learning. This takes grit, stamina, and time. It takes patience with the change itself, our colleagues, our management, and most importantly, it takes patience with ourselves. This is where Dr. Carol Dweck's research on mindset can help us so much, because this phase is hard. And we're going to wrestle with it because our performance may still not be where it was before the onset of the change, so it's easy to get discouraged here. But if we keep our head in the game, stay curious, lean into our support systems and resources, and eventually find our new rhythms, our new normal, we will pull through. Then we can get to the last phase of change, which is growth. After implementing the change and inviting it into our day-to-day work practices, we start to measure the outcomes against where we were before the change. Often, we realize the benefits of change and the rate of performance is not only matched, but surpasses performance where it was previous. Becoming more self-aware of how change affects our life at work enables us to identify when we need to pause and reflect about at which phase we are at with that change. So now it's literally time to pause this video and reflect. Write it down and answer these two questions. What is a current workplace change that is affecting your life today? And at which phase are you at with that change right now? You will get so much more meaning out of this video series if you take the time to do these activities. So I encourage you to think through it, write it down, because then you're able to apply what you learned today about change agility to your current workplace situation.